to episode 7 of Voices, the Community Story. My name is Mark Mulhern. I'm a Senior Research Fellow at the European Ethnological Research Centre at the University of Edinburgh, and I work on the oral history strand of the Regional Ethnology of Scotland project. I also serve on the steering group of Voices, the Community Story. And today I'm going to talk briefly about archiving and the importance of archiving in the conduct of an oral history project. From our point of view, we think that archives and archiving are integral to the work of the conduct of an oral history project, and I'll say a little bit more about that in a minute. And I want you really to leave this webinar today thinking about archiving and the work that you plan to do, and to do that thinking about archiving at the very outset of the planning. The earlier you think about what you're going to do with the material once it's created, the better. So let's, just before we move on to archiving, think about what oral history is. And at the very genesis of it, it's a conversation between people which are then recorded, sometimes using video, very often audio only. And somebody agreeing to be interviewed and for that interview to be recorded and kept and used by others is making a great commitment. They're making a commitment in time, but perhaps more meaningfully, they're committing to share their life experiences, their story, with not just the person interviewing them, but by those that will then have access to the recording or the recordings that are made. And in the process, a new source is being created, which will be available for researchers both now and in the future. So it's the creation of a new source, which is a very valuable contribution to the study of life and society wherever that work is being undertaken. And we, as people who are conducting oral history projects, have a responsibility to reflect that value by working to ensure that once the recording is made, that it, to the best of our ability, is stored somewhere suitably and safely, that the recording is accessible in the terms in which the recording was created in the first place. And we also have a responsibility to try and make sure that the recording is used in some way. There is obviously a certain value in the creation of a source material, but unless that source material can be accessed and used, the value is reduced somewhat. Let's think about what an archive is just now. When we speak to people within the communities in which we work, which is largely Dumfries and Galloway and East Lothian just now, when we mention archive, people often think it's synonymous only with repository. Now, a repository is a necessary part of what an archive is, a place where the materials can be stored safely, in perpetuity, in a suitable environment. So that's absolutely necessary, but it's not the extent of what an archive is or does. An archive, by receiving in materials and then making them available, then it becomes a resource. So it's not just a place where materials are stored, it's a place where a resource that's available to people who wish to access that material, either as students, academic researchers, or just members of the public with a general interest in the content of the recordings of the materials that are stored within that archive. So it's a repository, it's a resource. And from our point of view, in our project, the Regional Ethnology of Scotland project, we view the archive as the main output of our project. Now, we do publish books based upon the recordings that we've created in partnership with people across Scotland. We also hold conferences and gatherings and such to disseminate findings based upon the materials that we have. But the archive is the main output, and the way in which we output that or make that archive available to people is that we work in partnership with the Centre for Research Collections at the University of Edinburgh, and we have developed a dedicated archive interface website. So the website that we have two websites, and I'll put the address up at the end so you can go and have a look for yourself. All of the recordings that we take into the project are fully catalogued and fully transcribed and summarised in great detail. And we publish them in full, so the full audio recording and the full transcription go on the website. So our archive is as open as it possibly can be. This is enabled to a great extent by the fact that our recordings are made digitally. That's much easier than would have been 10, 20 years ago. So when we're talking to people, because all of our recordings are made in the community by members of the community, we don't do the interviews ourselves. We train others. We train people within the community to interview other people. We often, in explaining our work and exemplifying what it is we do, is we talk about the archive. We talk about the archiving of our material that I've just alluded to. And we find that when we're doing that, people like to see what happens once they've been interviewed. People readily understand what it is to be interviewed. They understand the value of it. But then at the back of their minds, they want to know, yes, but once this is done, what happens to it? What value is there in it? So being able to then demonstrate to somebody that you've already thought about the archiving and that you have, in our case, a publicly available website, or even just a archive to point to, it's reassuring to people that they know that once the interview's been conducted and the source is created, that the material will persist. We also find that people like to know that their contribution to our project becomes part of a larger whole. And also the fact that they're contributing to a project which is based on an active research environment in a university, it reflects back to them the value of their contribution in the first place. It also enables those individuals who've been interviewed to share their contribution with others. That could be family or friends, and we find that when we launched our archive website about 9 months or so ago, we had very many emails in from people who had been interviewed who'd shared their recording with friends and family right across the globe, which was a fantastic way to disseminate the information through the medium of our archive. And we find that all of that adds to encouragement to participate. People then, they understand the life of the source that they're going to be creating by being interviewed, and they find that enthuses them, and that aids or encourages participation in our project, and it enables, by publishing all our material, our archival material on our website, it enables learning about place to take place right across the globe. So, a recording about Kirkcudbright can be shared by somebody in Adelaide at the same time, and they can learn about each other. That's really all I wanted to talk about today, just to raise with you the importance and the value of an archive in the conduct of oral history projects. Now, and this, I would say, applies whether you're planning a single interview or a larger scale project. It also applies whether you have an archive or access to an archive or not. Obviously, most organisations, you may be doing this as just a small group or even as an individual, in which case you won't have an archive. I would then encourage you to think about seeking a partner who you could work with, perhaps a local authority archive or a university archive who may be interested to take in your work. It's certainly having a discussion anyway, just to see what you can do. So to the extent that you can do it, the possible extent to which you can do it, think about archiving at the outset of your work. And good luck and enjoy your oral history research. Thank you.